I never imagined myself standing in front of such a large group of people delivering a speech about myself, let alone the AVID program. Don't get me wrong, now I love to talk about myself. In fact, nothing comes more natural. But I'm shocked because growing up, I was always that strange child who would suck her thumb sitting in the back of the classroom watching all the other children play. My challenge, a severe speech impediment. This impediment caused students to dislike me, teachers to give up on me, my mother to become frustrated, and my older sister to become my very own personal interpreter, because she was the only person in the world who could understand what I was saying. Now I'm sure most of you guys are thinking that this was a kind gesture on behalf of my sister, but I can assure you she was the only one who benefited from my unfortunate situation. My sister was so sly, she would tell my mother things that she wanted, but would pawn them off as my desires. Two of her favorite lines were, "Mama, Joslyn said she wants some candy," or, "Mama, Joslyn said she want to go outside." I suffered from this speech impediment for 8 years before I was placed into speech therapy. While speech therapy became my dream come true, it became everyone else's nightmare. With my speech impediment gone, I had this uncontrollable urge to talk. It was as if I was letting out 8 years of suppressed conversations. After rambling on about my speech impediment, I can assure you not much has changed after 15 years. I was introduced to the AVID program at the end of my 6th grade year by my elective teacher, Renee Sheldon. After witnessing my organizational skills, lack of confidence, and work ethic, she believed I was a great candidate for the program. My mother, on the other hand, had other plans for my future. Those plans included me taking a Spanish elective every year until I graduated from high school. So by age 11, I had a difficult decision to make. Either continue to be that obedient daughter and take the Spanish class, or become a little bit more adventurous and explore this program known as AVID. Judging by this speech, I'm sure you all know which one I chose. Of course, the decision wasn't hard for me to make. Once Ms. Sheldon mentioned that the AVID class held parties once a month, I was completely sold on whatever it was she was trying to sell me. My mind went into daydream mode and nothing else seemed important. So the hard part of my dilemma was trying to get my mom to buy my dreams of going to AVID. Okay, I had the gift of gab, but the one thing I was lacking was persuasiveness. So I figured the only way I can get her to believe AVID was to finesse her. So of course I had to gather my resources, and who better than my older sister, known as my former interpreter. Finessing people was something my sister proved that she could do, and extremely well, might I add. My sister's finessing skills can be equated with fine wine. It gets better with time. We developed a great speech for me to deliver to my mother. In that speech, we deliberately emphasized AVID's mission of helping students get into college while accidentally forgetting to mention all the parties. With my sister's finessing skills and my gift of gab, we were a force to be reckoned with. My mother bought into our idea of AVID, and with her love and support, I joined the AVID program my 7th grade year and remained until I graduated from high school. Now, a lot of people say that the AVID program helps students in the academic middle get into college. Well, while it most certainly does this, AVID does so much more. AVID does everything from instilling hope into students to creating life-altering transformations. So as I previously stated, I got into the program with the intentions of partying and obtaining an easy A. Little did I know, that A would turn into a future of straight A's and B's, a scholarship to a 4-year university, all AP and honors classes, and eventually a college diploma. Before AVID, I would classify myself as a student that was driven by fear rather than love. I was fearful that if I did poorly in school, I would have to suffer the consequences when I got home. I was fearful that my friends would progress while I was held back. And most importantly, I was fearful of growing up and becoming a nobody. However, I didn't quite know how to change that fate. This is where AVID has played such an instrumental role in my education and in my life. Without AVID, I was an average student who did just enough to get by. I never had my work displayed on bulletin boards despite how hard I worked. I was never picked to be group leader or student of the week. Not having that validation from my teachers caused me to feel inferior, and I began to second guess myself all the time. Tasks that I typically excelled in, such as reading and writing, became hard for me to perform out of fear of making a mistake. But no subject caused me as much distress as math. By the time I got to middle school, I had completely given up on math, and I began to cheat my way through the class. When it seemed as if I had lost all hope with school, I was introduced to AVID. My first trimester in AVID was completely what I had expected, a piece of cake. It automatically became my favorite class for no other reason than no homework. I felt all classes should be like AVID. College tutors, parties every month, no homework. Okay, and not to sound completely unreasonable, a lesson from time to time would have been okay with me. All of these thoughts quickly diminished by the time our first pizza party came around. Students were awarded pizza from everything from perfect attendance to a 3.5 GPA or higher. I witnessed all of my friends earning 2 to 3 slices of pizza while I only earned 1 for my perfect attendance. That was all it took. There was no more time for me to play victim. My competitive nature kicked in, and I no longer valued only the fun aspects of the program. I valued any and every skill that would ensure my future success in school. By the end of my 7th grade year, I made a drastic improvement, and I now earn 3 slices of pizza instead of 1. Through my years in the program, AVID continued to foster my competitive nature. Now I'm not referring to an actual competition in which I needed to be better than my peers, but rather I was in competition with myself. Before AVID, now I would have given anything to be better than my peers, to outperform them. But for some reason, this urge dissipated once I joined the program. The new urge I felt was to become a better Joslyn. AVID encouraged me not only to do my best, but to be my best. In high school, AVID became much more important to me than in previous years. Not only did the class help guide me in a path that would ensure my academic success, but I was blessed to have a wonderful AVID teacher, Tracy Leota. Miss Leota was more than a teacher for me. She quickly became my mentor and my mother away from home. There was a time when I questioned whether I even wanted to continue on with the AVID program, and her words of encouragement and countless hours of support forced me to stick with the program. Through AVID, I was made to confront my biggest fears, such as AP and honors math. I was content with getting all A's in my college prep classes, but Ms. Leota forced me to gradually increase the number of AP classes I took a year. I guess she had some finessing skills of her own, because by the time my senior year rolled around, I was enrolled in 6 AP classes. In 2005, I graduated from Monte Vista High School, ranking in the top 10% of my graduating class. With the help of Ms. Leota, I applied to 5 universities and got accepted into all but 1. In the fall of 2005, I began classes at San Diego State University with a major in criminal justice. After a year in those classes, I realized my heart was not into law. I decided to switch to something I have fallen in love with over the years, which was education. AVID showed me the importance of a great education, so much so that I'm hoping to instill those values into my future classroom. I recently graduated cum laude from SDSU with a bachelor's degree in liberal studies. I have been accepted into their teaching credential program, which I will begin classes this fall. AVID has instilled hope and faith when I had none left. AVID made my dreams of going to college a reality. And most important, AVID has taught me through hard work and determination, anything is possible. I stand before you humble and gracious for all that AVID has helped me to accomplish. Without the program, I truly believe that my fear of becoming a nobody would have become my reality. AVID has transformed this shy and self-conscious girl into a hardworking, dedicated, and successful young woman, not to mention a great speaker. My thanks to the AVID founder, Mrs. Mary Catherine Swanson, and to all the people who have made this program such a success. Thank you.